All right, hey everybody, and welcome to the 90-minute art challenge. My name is Bobby Chu. I'm your host, and I also have on here my co-host Masay Seki. And
Hello, hello.
yeah, and today we have an awesome guest here, ErgoJosh. He came out of nowhere on my radar, and all of a sudden, like, what? 500,000 subscribers on YouTube? Jeez, oh my goodness. Had to get to know him a little bit more, and when I did, I didn't want to stop getting to know him because he's an awesome guy. So welcome, ErgoJosh.
Hey everybody, happy to be here. Thank you, Bobby.
Awesome. I got to hype up my guests here. So we are actually starting right now. Here is the subject, and I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping to kind of show everybody what the heck are we doing here. All right, so first, follow ErgoJosh. He's on Instagram as well. Okay, find him on YouTube, find him on Instagram. You won't regret it. Good stuff. Next, 90-minute art challenge. What is that? Well, you go to tumblr.com, hashtag 90-min art challenge, and you'll find us there. Or you look up 90-min art challenge, and you'll find us there. And there you'll find the subject for each day. We also have on here for Thursday, because we're not going to be here on Thursday. It's New Year's Eve, but we'll be quietly painting and drawing for ourselves that day. After that, after you've done your 90-minute art challenge, you could upload it to Instagram, hashtag it 90-minute art challenge, and we'll find it there. And boy, did we ever. So I want to show Josh and Masay a few of the awesome entries that just came in, since the last one. So you can see some people have already tackled today's subject. This was from last time. This was a difficult one. Very, very difficult. All ambient light, and it's all very much reflective light as well. That one was extremely difficult. But this one was no joke as well, which you will see. Look at this. Gender swap, right? That one's pretty cool.
Oh, that one's awesome.
And some John Wick to end things off. Also want to mention, because it's almost over, and every time it's over, everybody asks me, I missed it. Can I get in on the Schoolism winter sale? And the answer is no, you can't, because I keep telling you about it. Make a move. Why have you not joined the thousands of people, tens of thousands that have, signed up for Schoolism and things like that? When you do, by the way, when you do sign up, all you need to do is click on this nice little banner right here. You sign up, and when you do, you will gain access to all 41 courses on Schoolism so far. It's pretty nuts. So get on it. All right, and without further ado, let's go back to our painting here. Awesome. So, why don't we start off with some beginning thoughts? That's what we usually do. Like, in the beginning, I gotta say, I thought this was gonna be easy, which it wasn't, but I thought it was gonna be, right? Because it's like kind of like a floating head amongst a whole bunch of white.
Yep, that's what I thought as well. I mean, I knew for me, the colors, I knew it was going to be a challenge. So as soon as I finished my sketch, it was like, all right, it didn't get any easier.
I'm gonna lower my mic a little bit because I think your mic is a tiny bit quiet, Josh. Um,
Oh, okay, I can fix that really quick.
oh, perfect. Yeah, you got quite the setup. When we were sketching live, I saw your setup and I was like, dang, I gotta up my game. So we'll have to have that conversation at some point later on and figure out what kind of gear I need to get. Or I don't know. Is there kind of like a cheap version that we can kind of advise some of the people out there? Because you are uh, one of the fewer kind of big YouTube presences that we've had
Hmm.
on the channel as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you might have, but I think at least for audio, everyone can start out with one of the Blue Yetis or one of the blue microphones
Mhm.
yeah, that blue microphones their company is called. I think that's like all their products have like over 10,000 reviews on Amazon. It's just where everyone starts. It's super cheap and it works perfectly. Just um but yeah, it's been a while getting all this stuff. Sometimes I feel like it's overkill, but then it's like it just encourages me to stream more. So it's like I got to make use of it.
I have a Blue Yeti microphone, actually, everybody. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
There
I
you
guess
go.
I am starting at the beginning then. So, what kind of microphone do you have right now? Maybe we could set some
Uh,
goals.
it's it's ridiculously overkill. So I have the Sennheiser MK416, and then it's hooked up to a Mix Pre 6 um, audio interface, and that goes to
Wow,
my computer.
that just
And
went.
it's very expensive.
It sounds expensive, but I mean, like the quality, I feel like when there is a really good setup, when I watch your videos, you just feel so like immersed in like what you're saying. I mean,
Mm,
of course, your voice is very nice, so that makes it
thank
easier to
you.
get immersed. But yeah, I feel like the quality is definitely worth it, especially for video contents like yours, where you kind of
Yeah,
have like a lot of great talks.
yeah, exactly. I've been leaning towards doing a lot more podcasty feeling stuff, so it definitely helps a lot. And then also I remember when I was doing so much research in the beginning, like how do I make my YouTube channel grow and all that, everyone said like you got to get audio right first. And I think it's
Mhm.
true. It's more annoying to watch a video that's bad, but at least the audio is good than the other way around. The audio is bad, but the video is good. So I jumped on that pretty quick.
Is your computer quiet after you stream
Yeah,
a
that
while or whatever?
that has been something I've been working in progress, but now, yeah, I finally have a computer that I have one of those cases that has like mesh inside of it, not mesh, like foam that kind of dampens the sound. And then honestly, over the past 3 years with the components I have, it's just like it's not that bad. The only thing that'll make noise is like gaming. Everything else isn't that bad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. And when did you start getting serious with your YouTube channel?
Serious. So I first started it because Instagram, I wanted to give tutorials to people because they were asking on Instagram, but they cut it to an hour. I don't know if they still do that. So I wanted to try on YouTube. I did that for like 8 months. I was just on and off. But when I did a review on the iPad Pro, and that really blew up. I remember freaking out. Like it took a week. I checked it after a week and there were like 6,000 views and I was freaking out then. Um and so everything I'd been researching says like when you get something that pops off, you got to go hard and keep going making new videos, blah blah blah. And so that's when I started taking it seriously. And then I kind of just had faith that it would actually become something I could do as a serious component of my living after that. But I took it seriously before I saw any money from it.
Yeah, well, it definitely works because you've been on pretty much everybody's radar this year, just going, Josh, yeah, Ergo Josh, Ergo Josh. Uh, you know, can we, I hope you guys, you don't mind. Like, I have like a million YouTube kind of associated questions for you. I will try not to go overboard. You let me know when it's too much and you want to talk about
Okay,
some other
no
shit.
problem.
Um, can we talk about thumbnails for a second here?
Oh boy.
Everybody says, and I say, maybe everybody is me as well. Like everybody says,
Hmm.
hey, thumbnails, that's a huge, huge part of YouTube. What are like the questions or criteria that you go through in your head to determine if it's a good thumbnail or not?
Yeah, that's definitely right. It's always a struggle, at least for me. I find some people just hit it out of the park every time. Like Ethan Becker, I'm always looking at his videos. But I find the first thing you have to realize is that it's a huge competition on YouTube, and you have to get people to even see your thumbnail. So you have to make it so that are they going to see it on the page? Like a really good strategy, something I learned from a huge YouTuber, Mr. Beast. Uh, he puts his thumbnail, he'll take a screenshot of the YouTube um, subscription page and the home page, and he'll Photoshop his thumbnail in it and see how it looks. He's like, do I feel like clicking it? And then I started doing that, and then it's just like you got to make sure it's catchy, so that it grabs somebody's like eye, regardless of whatever topic it is. And then I like to think further. Okay, they have to ask a question. It has to make the viewer ask a question. So it's like, how did they do this? This is incredible. I want to see what happens. Yeah, what happens next? I don't believe this, whatever. So it's got to prompt them to read the title. So that's what like I want their thought process to be. And then if that works, I think that if that happens, then there's a really good chance that they're going to click after that.
I love the whole entire idea of putting in, grabbing a screenshot
Hmm.
of the YouTube page and then putting your thumbnail in there, right, Masay? We've done
Mhm.
that before. I don't
Yeah,
think
we've done that.
we need to be more diligent with that kind of stuff, but yeah, that one's a
Yeah.
really great one. Um, with titles and such, I always I I always kind of categorized it into say a bold statement, say a question that needs to be answered, or do a cliffhanger. What are your thoughts on that, Josh? Because I want to kind of throw some of these
Yeah.
ideas at you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with those. One thing that I found, I don't know if it's just the art community, but I find questions can be, it just didn't work for me as much. Is especially, I don't know, maybe it's just because I always think of the gimmicky questions like, uh, let's say, is this the only thing you need to be good at art? Something like just questions like that. I find people don't respond to as much.
Well, they got to
But
be genuine.
statements,
Yeah.
yeah, they really do. But statements work. If you can replace a question with a statement, it does way better. I found that if you approach YouTube as like your, if you're confident in what you have to tell people, people respond to it. So like for me, instead of saying, is if I had the choice between is this the best tablet ever or this is the best tablet ever, you pick the latter, this is the best tablet ever, and
Mm.
people will say, oh, well, then they have to make a decision. Do I think that person's worth listening to? Then they're gonna be like, but what if it is the best tablet ever? Let me see. Maybe they're wrong. Like you want to kind of think about how they're gonna process it. But it's like, is this the best tablet ever? I find most people are like, I don't care. I don't know. It's probably not gonna tell me, in the video. It's probably it feels, I guess, gimmicky to people, I think. So
No, no, yeah,
Mm.
totally. And that's a huge one because it is very, very easy to have some sort of question sound hokey or sound like,
hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
this person has an objective. I was really thinking about like something like uh, what was one that I was saying the other day? It was something like New Year's resolutions. Like, what are you trying to do this year? This year, I'm trying to do more meditation because I feel like I really need it,
Oh, that's
especially with
awesome.
these kind of times. Something that
Yeah.
is truly genuine, truly from the heart, truly that you're doing or you're thinking about, right?
Yeah.
Those I find really do get people. But yeah, absolutely, 100%. There's a huge side that's very, very close that is
Hmm.
so hokey and so like transparent.
Yeah, people are so sensitive to that these days. You want to make sure to try to step away from it.
Mm. It's not just like a clickbait
Hmm.
kind of thing.
Now, the other thing I
Yeah,
I
wanted.
well,
feel
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Miss A.
I was gonna
Or
say
like, oh,
like,
go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna say like clickbait. Sometimes I feel like there's two types of clickbait, and I think just bad clickbait is what you want to avoid. But in the very essence of the word, like you're trying to get people to click, right? So if you make a catchy
Mm.
thumbnail, that is clickbait in its definition. So
Mm.
yeah,
Mhm.
well, can we talk about that?
but don't
Because
lie to people.
also you are kind of a ninja at navigating through these waters of kind of clickbait, but not really. Like, look at your titles.
Hmm.
Come on, right? Like,
Yeah.
can you give us an example of a real kind of on the cusp title that you've used before?
Yes. Okay. So the one that was is probably one of the most successful I've done is and is what was it? It was "Don't Draw These Girls," right? And so I knew that one. I knew it's kind of devious of me, but I knew my message. So I knew people would perceive that as, oh, he's finally, talking about this kind of taboo topic of how these particular images on Pinterest are super popular. And in a sense, I did lean towards that, but my main focus was it's not these specific women, it's images that are very, very glamorous, photoshopped, and no expression, right? Because that was what I was doing. I was moving on to more emotional characters and more dynamic lighting where you could see more forms. And so I found that that was helping me out. So I was like, how do I help people learn or teach them what I'm learning, but get them to like see how, at least get to my level of like passion for this. So that was it. It's like I towed the line between having this like social drama commentary and then just straight up having like, okay, here's how you look at expressions, right? And it worked out really well. It's still one of my most popular videos, but there is a little bit more, there's a few more dislikes on it, but it's still above 90. What is it? Like 90% is the lowest I want to ever go. If it's not 90, like then I feel like okay, I really took too far somewhere. So
And to give everybody a little context of the power of ErgoJosh, how many views approximately is that video right now? Can you guess?
that video, it's at least 700K. Like I'm actually curious, but it's at least I don't know if it hit a million yet, but it's at least 700K. And I still get and it's like so I'd say it's like what, 6 months old? And I still get views on it. Like comments at least. And then there's videos that are just like a month old that pretty much dried up. Um, so it was a very, very helpful video of mine.
My
Let me
most
see.
popular.
1.1 million. 1.1. There we go.
Oh,
Dang, boom.
wow.
My
So
most
much.
popular video that was kind of like with a trolley-ish kind of title is Six Signs You're Too Old for Art.
That's
Yeah.
excellent. Yeah.
You know, and
The
in the end, the video is it's telling you you're never too old for art,
yeah,
right?
That is
But
very
I
good.
like
Yeah.
that.
you would get the dislikes more because
Hmm.
it's it's a bit of more spicy title,
Hmm.
right? And that's same thing with yours, I find.
Hmm.
So I guess the next kind of thing that people can think about is kind of like how spicy do you like your food? Because you make it spicier, you're gonna get more people not just loving it but hating it as well. Would you say that
Hmm.
that's kind of true?
Yeah, and one of the things you also have to like take into account is there's a YouTube is basically like what is it like journalism and articles. So a lot of people don't watch the video. Unfortunately, if you have a video that does well, a big portion of them are going to read the title, watch a few seconds and then leave or comment before they finish watching it. So that is true. There's going to be people who are, for more successful, enjoyable videos, you take a stance, and then there's going to be people who take another stance, but also people will read the title and not, watch everything. Because one of my most recent videos, I was like, everyone's talking about the title, and I'm like, I spend 2/3 of the video talking about something else, so that's very interesting. I'm like, I see some of you didn't watch the whole thing. Um, but yeah, that's definitely true. And you just have to like for me, I found okay, this is if my likes are at 98%, it's a chill video for me. If it dips to 97, it's a little spicy. If it's 95, it's like, ooh, that's really spicy for me. But in some communities, it's different ratios.
Yeah, I love a lot of the titles that you use because I'm a little shocked sometimes. It's like I remember seeing some title that you put on there, something like something to effect of like, should you just quit now kind of thing. Like these kind of titles where you're just like, damn, this guy is like, um, actually, you know what it was? Is your portfolio reviews that really made me notice you. Because those titles
Mm,
tend to be
yeah,
like
those
almost like,
popped off.
why are you, why, why are you drawing? Why are you painting? Let me correct you, you know? And you get in there like a little, I feel naturally you're going to get in there a little amped up going, okay, what's this guy talking about? And then you
Exactly.
turn them around, kind of like Bill Burr with his stand up, offend people first and then turn them around. But you're not like Bill Burr. Bill
Yeah, I
Burr,
know
he
what you mean.
truly offends people. But I'm just saying, a little spicy in the
Mhm.
beginning, and then you start giving them the mango lassi to kind of deal with that, spice, I guess.
Yeah, those videos people really, really love. I need to do another one, but yeah, I feel like it's hard to get critique, and although a lot of times, like now I'm trying to really get more serious about like not picking anything that I feel like I don't have enough experience on talking about at all. But even then, it's like I think it's good for people to start seeing there's value in actually sitting down and giving thoughtful critique over someone's work instead of just, saying, "Oh, nice work," all the time. And people really, it's shown that that's a huge thing that people want in the art community. Um,
By
just
the
gotta take the
way,
risk.
art community, we're in Discord right now. We're in the Lightbox Expo Discord community right now.
Hmm.
You can join by going to bit.ly/LBX Discord. You can see at the bottom of the screen there. You could also type in questions into slido.com, #ChewStream. And in Discord currently, we have a whole bunch of people drawing and painting together, encouraging, not just fluffing, but also, commenting on how people can get better, things like that. And they're all painting together. Check that out. That's super cool. And there's a whole bunch. Today, there's a lot because we
Yeah.
got ErgoJosh in the building. So there's a lot.
I try my best to get people to be like, "All right, come to this stream. I know it's early."
Oh, well, you're doing great. This one's not
Okay,
really
that's good to
working
hear.
too well. Let's see this next one. But yeah, everybody is encouraged to paint and draw together, and you always learn so much more. It was interesting, every time it's interesting painting
Oh
and drawing with
wow,
somebody else, right? That was like some
that's
zebra
someone
Oh,
stuff.
sculpting.
cool.
That's cool.
Hmm.
Oh, Prashad. That's awesome.
It's great. Oh, blocking in. This
Very
feels
nice.
like a schoolism workout or something.
I should have done that.
It's very cool.
When you were talking about that video, Josh, the one that you got
Hmm.
the most view on, I
Yeah.
remember I actually, when I was watching that video, I was doing an illustration, exactly what you were talking about. It's like just a pretty girl and just like no expression, and it doesn't really tell a story. And as I'm painting, I'm like, okay, Josh, I'm gonna change it. So I love those videos that kind of like call you out on, things that you should be changing, but until someone points it out, you're not gonna really want it. You just like I felt so comfortable doing it, and like it was just like
Hmm.
my that zone where I'm just like, I don't know what to draw, but I'm just gonna draw it anyways. So
Yeah.
for me, I appreciate those kinds of videos where, yeah, it's like at first I wasn't really sure what the video was about, so I clicked it and I was listening to it. At first, I was just like slightly defensive because I was doing it, but
Yeah.
then the more you talk about it, I was like, okay, okay,
Yeah.
scrap, try it again.
Yeah, I think that would have been perfect for you as well because I don't know if I mentioned it in the video, but a lot of people in the comments also said, which I agreed with, like those faces are sometimes the best thing for people who are beginning because expressions are
Mm,
hard. But I
mhm.
know that you probably have a pretty good amount of experience under your belt. So adding some expressions is probably a very good thing for
Mm-hmm.
you to do. So
I
glad you enjoyed it.
agree.
Also, this is a very conversational kind of stream here. So
Yeah.
I invite, all the people in Discord, not all at once, but, come join in on the conversation. Here's a question for you, Josh. You
Cool.
mentioned before that you used to be an architect,
Mm,
right?
yes.
And like in my family, an architect is the respectable artist.
Mm.
That's the artist with a true profession, quote unquote. Of course, my family understands nowadays, but you know how it is. Now,
Yeah.
going from that to saying, Mom, Dad, you know what? I'm going to do YouTube. I'm going to be a YouTuber. Can we talk about that experience and how you were able to kind of have them understand?
Yeah. So for me, I felt like my parents were definitely, the your typical immigrant parents. So I was born in Nigeria. So they wanted a lot for their kids because we were the only, yeah, we were the only part of our large extended family that was in the States. And like I'd say 99% of everyone was still in Nigeria, even to this day. So they had a lot of expectations. But the thing was, they didn't have as much of like I guess like social expectation. I don't know what it is. It's like they wanted us to be successful, but they didn't really care as much what it looked like. They weren't really as interested in bragging rights, which I'm really, really thankful for and I appreciate because I know a lot of other, families do have that kind of pressure. It's like you need to be something that is honorable. Right. So for me, it was just, you need to be able to support yourself, right? Um, I think my transition was easier because I never really brought it up. I always wanted to be an architect as a kid. I did art on the side. Um, I never mentioned doing it for a living. I never honestly thought about doing it for a living, which is really interesting. I don't want that to be an experience anybody else has. I think everyone should feel like it's possible and know the actual technical things you can do with your art skills in high school at least. And then I went to college, I graduated, I went to tech in Atlanta, and then I was like, well, somebody inspired me to kind of keep sketching and stuff, and I was like the pressure from work kind of pushed me into doing more art stuff, and I never brought it up. They just eventually found me recording stuff, and I would do this on my off time from work. And I was just like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing this kind of thing." And my dad was like, "Oh, do you get any money from it?" Like, kind of, yeah, here and there. And never really. It's just always like this hobby. Eventually, though, since I was living with my parents at the time, we decided to move somewhere much farther away from my job, and I was already making like 2+ hour commutes daily in total. And so I was like, all right, cool, I'm quitting as well. And they're like, oh really, like, is that thing you're doing like gonna support you? I'm like, yeah, I'm good, you don't have to worry. um because they were already used to me living at home, so that was another really big privilege I had. And so yeah, after that they were just really okay with it. They didn't seem to mind as much, and I think also it's because the past 2 years they've probably been seeing all the stuff I was buying. So I don't know. I They just trusted me, I guess.
Well, also a key part to that, I feel, is that you were creating a bridge, between
Hmm.
one thing that you were
Yes.
doing and another thing. It wasn't like just kind of diving in, right? And just trying
Hmm.
to swim from one island to another, because those waters can be very choppy. Uh, but if you're doing one job and you're constantly putting in that extra effort, by the way, to do
Yeah.
YouTube videos constantly on the side, that's no joke.
Hmm.
But through kind of like, I was about to say, through suffering through that,
It
but
is. It is.
you know what I mean. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like you could have done things, quote unquote, easier by just quitting one thing and going to another. But generally, the road to comfort is paved with frustration and
Suffering.
extra, yeah, suffering. Exactly.
Yeah. Honestly, I would always say it's like whenever anyone asks me, it's like you can choose the burn the wick at both ends option. That's always what I use because I was like working at home, working at work. But yeah, that is, I honestly, and I remember somebody saying like there aren't enough people who choose the kind of safe route where they don't jump ship immediately. They kind of work both ways until becomes reasonable. So I'm proud to be able to show people that that option can work, because you always hear the really fun stories that like I just dropped everything and I just believed in myself, and it's like that's a lot of people. It's a fun story to listen to, but not many people are going to follow that, right? But it's like, hey, I didn't drop everything, right? It's like
Well, what's
I
what's more fun to listen to? Like, oh, I took a walk today and I saw some birds, saw some trees, or oh, I jumped off that cliff with a whole bunch of
exactly.
parachute equipment and I had to assemble it on the way down. Like that's
Yeah.
a much better story.
Hmm.
But I don't want to be a part of that story.
Yeah,
Exactly, right?
I was just
It's
thinking.
funny.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the media that just promotes those, and there are hidden stories like mine out there. But I'm just happy to be able to to have it, you know, my platform be able to show people that it's possible.
Also, audience people in YouTube or in Facebook or whatever, give us some heart emojis if you've already subscribed to Ergo Josh by now. All right, and that's gonna come through, and
Awesome. Yeah,
there's a
the
delay,
delay.
so
Yeah.
Now, do you stream as well, live?
Yes. I stream on Twitch right now. I'm actually in the process of switching things up a little bit in 2021, just because of a lot of the issues that Twitch has had has made me like want to rethink my brand in relation to streaming. But
What
yeah,
are
I'm
the
planning to stream
issues?
a
I'm
lot more
so in
on
the dark.
YouTube. So there's a lot of issues with copyright when it comes to music. That's the biggest pain point that
Mhm.
everyone has on Twitch right now, and Twitch isn't handling it well, and they're facing like lawsuits, um, because they can't really figure out a way for people to be able to play music, and then get the people who own the music to be able to be properly compensated, because they don't have something like YouTube where, oh, if it's, you can just tell us that it's your music and we'll take the money from the YouTuber and give it to you, and then everyone's happy. But that doesn't really work on Twitch, because the ads are basically like nothing, um, on there, and they just don't have as they're not as mature. And then just for me also the concept of you can't stream at the same time when you're partnered with them. And so that's something that I'm considering kind of moving away from, because I feel like I want to start trying to stream at the same time. I think that's going to be better for me in the long run. And there's
What do you
other
mean you
things.
can't stream at the same time? Like,
So
if
if
you're
you
partnered with them?
become an affiliate or partner, that's their two terms. You can only, when you stream on Twitch, you can only share that content after 24 hours that it's been available on Twitch. So right now, let's say if you're streaming this on Twitch, you can't post it to YouTube until 24 hours after the fact. You can't stream it at the same time, because streaming at the same time is great because then you have Twitch audience and YouTube watching it. And technically, we're doing, Discord and YouTube. So technically, Twitch wouldn't even allow that. But,
Oh, wow.
Oh,
they they can't necessarily enforce everything, but it's just like it's in the contract. You want to be safe with all that stuff. So yeah, it's like after 24 hours you can post it, but just not at the same exact time.
This is such an education for me because, like, I don't even have ads on my YouTube channel. All this stuff is so fascinating. I remember you telling me as well, like, for YouTubers, one view on one subject is not equal, or that's
Mm,
getting viewed by a certain person from a certain country is not equal to other videos on other subjects that are viewed by people in other countries.
yep, it's absolutely true. And even within, just like United States is just the highest paying. Even within the United States, different topics will get you different amount of CPM, which is just cost per million, or cost per milli, which is 1,000 views which is how it's measured. So yeah, artists are not anywhere near the top of that list.
That's incredible. Yeah, I have no idea because, you know, I talk about schoolism on here, I guess. So I don't have any real reason to promote any of my videos.
Exactly.
But I was really surprised to hear because I always thought, uh, but you know, I got this info so long ago, like probably like 7, 8 years ago, that if you had 1 million views on YouTube on a video, that's between $3,000 to $6,000. But you're saying it actually doesn't matter. It does. It matters on a whole bunch of different factors on how much
Mm.
that would be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, I had one video that did over like 1 million, and I'd say 70% of the viewers were from I don't know if it was exactly from India, but at least the Middle East around there, and the revenue is much lower than that. But if it was, let's say, if it was a tech video that somehow got that big, it would be huge. And then there's even like this thing called Google Preferred, where if you're on the highest cast level of YouTubers, everything's even more because they just want to prioritize ads for those people. So
That's when you get invited into the building to make videos and stuff.
they actually have a thing where different places across the world where they have places, YouTube has places where people can come in and film stuff. But the people you're talking about, yeah, they could get their own YouTube Red show. Those people often can, when the YouTube Rewind was a thing, they'd be in it, all kinds of cool perks like that.
Now, the real interesting thing on my radar these days is the fact that something like TikTok and now there's Instagram Reels, where I don't know if Instagram has really proven it yet, but TikTok, holy, you can go from nobody to like 1 million subscribers in record times.
Yeah, TikTok has been, it looked like it's been super easy for people to start if they have good video content. It's just obviously a lot harder to get into, especially for artists, because for me, it's just so frustrating. Like if I want to work on something, I don't want to hit film, work on it a little bit more. Oh, that's a pretty good progress to make. Let me film a little bit more on TikTok and then work on it more. Some people found little ways to make it easier, but it's like, I hate that. But if you can do that, there's plenty of art TikTokers that have really blown up too. So it's a very, I don't know how they're doing it, but the way the engagement works and sharing, it seems to be really good. A lot better than Reels, I still think, though, because Instagram has been pissing a lot of people off lately.
Yeah, yeah. But hey, you know what? Like, I really don't like the fact that they are trying to get us to use Reels. I think that's the thing that really ticks off everybody. But at the same time, I tried using Reels and I got so much freaking traction. It was incredible.
Hmm,
It was incredible. Like,
that's really good.
it also depends on your, subscribers and such, but without even trying, put out a reel on there. I have like 330,000 subscribers maybe, and my first reel, I think it's at like 180,000 views,
That is amazing.
right? Which is abnormally high.
I
Abnormally
think you did
high.
something right there. You did. I need to see that one.
Yeah, you gotta try it out because, like, as much as I hate it, and I don't even want to encourage anybody to use it because I don't like the fact that I'm using it. You know what I mean? Ah, I really don't like
Mm.
that fact that they got me using this thing, and I'm not, and I'm like,
I'm looking at the stream on my end, and it's just loading.
okay,
Okay, now I see the empty. Yeah.
Oh, we're painting again.
yeah,
So
where
I guess you
I'll
gotta
speed
figure
it
out.
up. Yeah, sorry everybody.
There we go.
Having Josh on here broke the internet for us, so we're just gonna go back.
Too much traffic.
Yeah, just a little bit of a hiccup there. Let me get us back on the screen at the same time. First time that's ever happened. Holy cow. That was weird. All right, we're back.
computers just have a mind of their own sometimes. It's annoying. It's like today we're gonna crash the software. No reason.
Let's see how they react.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, we have a question on the Discord, Chloe.
Oh yeah, sure. Shoot.
Hey guys, I hope you guys can hear me okay with all the technical issues going on. Hey Josh, I just wanted to, well, hello everybody. I don't want to be rude and just enter like that, but hello everybody. Josh, I really enjoy your work, man, and thank you for all the content that you're putting out on YouTube. In regards to, you having such a like a large online presence in itself, how do you handle being affected by kind of just a positive and negative comments, especially on a scale that you're working at right now? As a new artist, I can imagine it being crippling, just the likes and dislikes, especially in, nowadays when it's literally people are judging by the click of a button. Does it still matter to you at all? Or I'm trying to visualize you walking away from the day going, oh man, that really stuck with me, and carrying it with you. Does it still affect you, or how do you even deal with them?
Well, first off, I appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoy my content. But yeah, it's still a tough thing to navigate. I think it is for everyone. Even if it's not necessarily, it can be more when you're always the face of the facing the audience. For me, I think it's been a process of limiting how much I engage with comments. So like right now, a lot of people just don't read them. But right now, what I try to do is don't look at anything an hour after I post a video, for example. I found that that was just bad. Um, and then I'll only really focus on video comments to videos that were recent, like within the last two videos, because it's just like, okay, I'm staying engaged with my audience, but it's like I'm not going to get caught off guard by this one negative comment from this old video or somebody that's going through my old videos and just, because that happens sometimes. Um, but yeah, every now and then I think it just takes practice going through the ups and downs and realizing that somebody might say something really negative or critical about your work and you have to kind of recalibrate yourself. Sometimes they can be helpful, but you kind of have to focus, and sometimes you might have to go into a period where you're kind of cutting everything out, right? So I just like to see it as a whole mental health thing as a whole, just like recognize when something's happening and then respond to it. And there's not really any way to just prevent it from happening without just cutting it all out, which would disconnect you with your audience overall. Um,
Yeah, that's a hard
but
thing,
yeah,
especially when it's like you hear the great algorithm wants you to engage with comments and engage with the
mm,
people that are talking to you.
yeah. And then like the thing is like I mean I might have made it sound like I get all these negative comments, and it's really rare. It's just that us as humans, like we we almost want to find those things, right? And especially me, like I've always been the type of person where it's like, okay, yeah, praise here. I want to find the critical stuff so I can improve. I don't want to. I always felt like I don't want to be, too happy if there could be something wrong. So I'm always looking for it when I'm scrolling through comments, and it's so toxic to do that. And I think it's important to be like, sit down, look at all this positive stuff, force yourself to just look at it, like look at the amount of it. Don't focus on this one little thing. I've seen so many huge celebrities that are like, and then supermodels on Instagram, and I'll see like one critical comment and then they respond to them. I'm like, we're all just like victims, like slaves to this thing where it's like no matter how popular we get, any one little critical comment can get our attention. So you just gotta really try hard to not let it get to you.
I hear that. That's what I try to do. Um,
Yeah.
but it can, yeah, I hear both sides. It can definitely be tough, because like the people that generally say, um, focus on the positive comments, this and that. Generally, what you're saying has legitimacy, but
Mhm.
other people that have, 110 followers or whatever, and they say that, it's kind of just like have you ever been slapped in the face before? You know, because it doesn't
Yeah.
seem like you've been slapped in the face, and it's just harder to hear those people. I still try, but I'm just saying naturally it's harder to hear those people than somebody like you telling me that. You know what I mean? Or if
Hmm.
I was to tell you that, like, we have this understanding where it's like, yeah, you've been there.
Yeah. And I think there's like different types of negative comments. I think you'll get more as you grow because people feel more distant from you. They don't feel like it's personal. It took me a while to get my first negative comments, but you can still get them when you're really small, and those can be really damaging because you might not have that big, allotment of positive comments to go from. So that can be really tough. Um, but yeah, I think it's important to try and really focus on what you're doing and why you're doing it. And I also recommend for some people, that's why a lot of artists that just they've been here for 10 years, they've been doing this thing, they just sometimes just don't even get public with it. They don't pay attention to it. They just upload, and then so that might be the correct path for a lot of people. And I think it can be tough these days to figure out which one you want to take, because that can be the way that you should, or you might want to just pick to do things. And it's just like, for the most of my career, I'm just gonna upload stuff and not really get too out there. And there's a lot of great artists that are super popular that have like almost next to no interaction just because they just focus on what they want to do.
But generally, they're not YouTube stars. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
technically,
Like,
yeah, their
they
YouTube
don't need
channel is
to,
usually small,
yeah, they don't need to
but they're
depend
still
on that.
successful.
But yeah, at the same time, like, for me, I've been able to kind of help myself by just constantly uh, meditating, thinking about, like, how do I want to be, how do I want my life to be, and how do I want to act. It's not a easy process. It's a lot of, like, dedication to
Mhm.
meditation, even though you are just kind of sitting there, right? But these days I'm just more concerned about the other people that can't handle these kind of things as well, or they don't practice certain things so that they don't handle it as well.
Mhm.
um, and, like, what kind of place are we building for them, especially,
Yeah.
say, uh, kids. Like, I think about friends with kids now that like art, and they're old enough to understand and to read and to perhaps post something. I wonder
Mhm.
how I would have done in this kind of environment, because there's been many times when I was a kid where I was very close to just going, I don't want to pick that up ever again.
Yeah, that's something I have also realized I need to be more sensitive to, because a lot of times somebody will be in my stream or my chat that's like super annoying. I'm like, what's wrong with you? And then I have to realize this could be a 13-year-old person. That's just how it is in my audience. Like, I found that there's a lot of young teens there, and it's just like I have to remember encouragement does matter a lot. Even if it's something little, like, it matters so much. And that's why I'm trying to, like, use, more of the sandwich method. Even though for me, like, I think myself right now, it's like, I don't need that. I just want the criticism. But yeah, it can be so important just to have that little anchor of like positivity. And I think, maybe finding more substantial way to help encourage others other than saying, "Oh, great work," is something that I want to look into. That can help these people so that they have something to hold and shield them against whatever negativity they might come across.
I feel like I've been hogging up the mic, so does anybody want to talk to Josh about anything?
I just want to say hello. Hello, Josh.
Hey,
And I'm really enjoying your content, what you're making, and yeah, just want to say thank you.
no problem. I appreciate it.
Here's a
Hello,
question.
Bobby.
Hey, Nico. All right, I'm sorry.
Kobe?
I was just watching my show just before this. I just called you Nico in the sort of light. Hey, Kofi.
That's funny.
It's not a problem. I just wanted to say hi to everyone, and yeah, hello, Josh. I'm a huge fan of your stuff, and I was wondering, like, have you ever considered like going the podcast route? Because like your voice is like perfect for that kind of stuff, and I'll definitely listen to it.
Yeah, I've always had that, like people suggested that as well. I did kind of start one, but I only put one up there. I think the only issue right now is like I feel like whenever I have a podcast, like podcast content, it's like why don't I just put it on YouTube? Because that seems to be doing fairly well. Um, but I think, one day I do want to be able to take, because it's like marketing influencer 101 to like if you make something, find out how you can split it up and put it on more platforms. And that's something I really do need to take more seriously. But maybe when I get like a helper or something, I'll be able to do that more efficiently.
I appreciate the answer. Awesome.
No problem, man.
I feel like it must be weird. Well, maybe not for you because you've been getting it probably all your life. When like, men, women, all over the place keep telling you got a sexy, good voice or something like that. You know, well, they didn't say
Yeah,
sexy. I
it's
just said sexy. So maybe I just made it weird just now.
no, it's fine. I've had like so many funny like comparisons on my comments, like my voice is like paint or like fake honey or something. There's been some really funny
Yeah,
ones.
that's
But
great.
yeah, I think I've actually been getting similar comments since like middle school. It's just weird because it's like it all stopped at a certain point, like in college, I think. And then I didn't really get that anymore. And it's like I didn't really even think about it. And then it kind of came back. And I was like, oh yeah, that is true. People used to talk about my voice when I was like one of the earlier kids in puberty, right? So I've just gotten used to it, and it's been nice because I still cringe when I hear my voice in certain situations. Like I can listen and edit my voice now because I'm like, okay, I need to cut out that I need to cut out this weird breath or a burp in the podcast. But if I hear somebody's story and they have my video playing, I can't hear it or I can't listen to it. Or if somebody else is playing my audio, it's like, but I can listen to it with my nice headphones and it's good. But for some reason, hearing it like externally still kind of cringes me out sometimes.
It would be so funny if, like, perhaps all of us really did hear a totally different voice, right? Because, like, how could you tell? How could you truly tell somebody, yeah,
Hmm.
you are hearing that exact voice? Maybe it
Yeah.
changes when it goes through your head, and then all of a sudden, because a really, like, annoying voice, and it's like, welcome to my podcast,
That's how
everybody.
that's honestly, I'll find myself like mocking myself when I watch one of my videos on like my phone or something. I'm like, why do I sound like that? I'm like, I edited that. What are you talking about, Josh?
I was telling Noah this morning, I was like, I was watching Wonder Woman 1984 this morning, or
Nice.
last night, and I was like, that sounds just like Noah. I just keep hearing Noah.
Interesting.
Noah, you want to say hi? You want to say something so everybody can kind of hear?
Let's see it.
This is Wonder Woman over here.
Right?
Whoa.
Right?
Noah really sounds
So
like
funny.
like what's her name? Oh my god. Yeah, Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
Whoa, I was not expecting that.
Maybe
I
it's,
have to watch that.
so. If we're on this stage, can I ask a question?
Sure thing, Wonder Woman. Just joking. I'm sorry.
So I was just wondering, like, when you started out your YouTube channel, like, what gave you the confidence? Like, did you ever had any thoughts like, what do I really know, stuff like that? Like, how did you approach this with confidence that this is what you want to do and you got something to say and
Yeah. So one of the first things I remember hearing from, when I was looking up all this like entrepreneur and guru stuff is somebody said like it could have been, I know Trent Kanuga, I think on YouTube has a lot of videos around this kind of topic. I remember it might have been him or someone else, but it's like when you feel like you have something to tell someone, that's when you can teach people. It's not there's nothing else. So it's like when you learn that, oh, draw from my elbow, drawing from my elbow helps me. You can tell somebody that, and then you're in your full rights to do that. And I really that really connected with me. I'm like, oh, I have stuff I can tell people, right? But also I just see myself as somebody who's had to put in a lot of effort to get to where I'm at. Not like everyone hasn't, but it's like I see myself as someone who's been behind and who has had to play catch up in a way. So it's like because of that, and like I'm trying to catch up and run and speed up ahead to catch up to people. I see myself as somebody who's had to learn things in a very practical way versus learning with intuition. So I felt confident in teaching people things because it's like, oh, like I never sketched very much before. Like I never had sketchbooks. I always painted random stuff in art class. And I used this method in school that didn't let me visualize properly, but I figured out how to draw pretty cool faces doing this, this, and this. And it's like, I want to tell people that. Um, and I'd say the last component is just that I had it wasn't that serious, but I had like you know, do it or die trying kind of attitude to like YouTube and everything. Cause it's like I had a very like what's there to lose kind of thing, kind of mindset. I guess it's just easier for me to be online. It's hard for me to do that with like in person. It's hard for me to have that kind of mindset in person, but online I just was like, well, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'm still gonna show up. It's like I kind of got to that place where I accepted being, just forgotten or beaten down. And I just saw how crazy the internet was. And it's like everything is moving around so much. And I felt like, well, it's not that big a deal. And I always try to tell people that because some of the people I coached on my Patreon in the past, they were always like, somebody's going to find my brother, my sister, my friends at school are going to find my account. And I'm just like, I wish I could impart my knowledge onto you of like how much that doesn't matter. And fortunately, I think it was awkward when my coworkers found out about it, but other than that, I did keep it secret. But I just, I don't know. I guess I had my eye on the prize so much that it allowed me to sometimes forget about the worries enough to where I was able to have some success to where it overpowered the concerns.
When also, like with Josh, like it doesn't matter who you were as much as who you've become as well.
Hmm. Yeah. And you can watch one of my first videos and you'll see exactly how different um the person is on that behind the microphone there, but still the same similarities, right? And like I remember saying exactly like I'm gonna get better at this, this, and this with this channel, So it's like, well, I'd gotten to a place where it's like I just want to improve whatever it takes. I guess I got to that lower point where I didn't really care about whatever else I had to lose. Um, so hopefully that could be encouraging. You can see that journey.
There's
Oh,
such a
yeah.
huge key there as well, Josh. Like as you're talking, it's like you can sense through this whole entire from the beginning of this stream till now, you can really sense that you had this point where you were like, I'm gonna give it 100%, right? And that's not an easy thing to do, especially already kind of embarking on a successful, quote unquote, successful path of architecture and things like that. But you're kind of like that proof of like if you are brave enough to try something at 100%, success will find you. Because like
Yeah,
when
I
you
really do believe that.
yeah, and when you watch, like when I watch your channel, I've been doing this for a good minute as well, and
Hmm.
probably a lot longer. And
Yeah, for sure.
when I
I've been watching
watch,
you in my process.
oh shoot, okay, yeah, don't do that, don't do that. All right, good job. But when I watch what you do, it really feels like, yeah, this person's legit. This is what they're about. They're not testing the waters, right? Like this is you. So that's something that hopefully will help others as well. Like yeah, That's what really kind of caught my eye about what you do, not just your sexy voice.
Awesome. I appreciate that. That's really cool to hear. Yeah, I remember some people have also said that I was like really thoughtful, and that is kind of a blessing and a curse a lot of times. But yeah, I really felt like if you show up, and I felt like that's how you stand out on the crazy huge world of YouTube, is like if you can find out something that you have to share or you want to be and you stick to that, it will be successful because people are interested in that. You know, people are just like I said with the titles, people want to see what you have to say on this. If you have a strong stance, people want to see what it is. But if you have a wishy-washy stance, you don't really know. It's like, is this whatever? It's like people don't seem to care as much. And I think that kind of mindset and approaching whoever you want to be or promote yourself online really helps you with everything.
Now, you were saying that you're getting a lot more into the idea of podcasts, things like that, where it's more about giving your views on things. Was that something that had any hesitation behind it of kind of opening up yourself in that way?
Yeah, I think it was hesitation, but also frustration. I noticed my channel was like, it was getting a little bit too, it was declining a little bit, but a little bit too unpredictable. And in the same time, I found myself, I just suddenly just had so much less energy for making videos. So I was like, all right, let me go back and revisit my whole point of everything I was doing. And then through that, I was like, okay, these videos have done well for me. My audience appreciates it. Let me just do that. And I have, thankfully, the flexibility to where if I do that for 6 months and it completely fails, then I can be like, okay, that didn't work. But if it works, then it's all good, right? And, that's so far it's been going pretty well.
Yeah, and if anybody has, listened to the stream to this point and you have any kinds of ideas of things that you'd like for me to do in the future, I'd love to know. Half the time, I'm really just doing the stuff that I want to do, Josh, and like streaming is an excuse to get you on here, to talk with you. Like, because that's what I want to do. I don't really care that much about streaming. And same thing with the painting. Like, I just want to paint. And so if I could make an excuse to do it, then I start doing it. I'm not saying that this is the right thing to do, actually. I'm kind of almost saying that this is probably one of my minor downfalls, is that I don't really care as much if people stop watching these kinds of streams, because, like, I'm getting so much out of it myself, and this is really what I want to do. It just so happens that people keep watching these streams, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make complete sense because that's usually the recipe for success. It's hard to be successful doing something you really don't like doing. I found in my, like, it could be coincidence, but I found, I kind of lost myself when I first started streaming like 9 months ago, and I was doing a lot of like really crazy things, and I just kind of was slowly getting more burnt out. So I was like, I'm introducing this timer now where I don't look at chat so I can focus on drawing. I got rid of a lot of some of the rewards, and my viewership went up. It's less fun. It's less like crazy stuff happening on stream, and my viewership went up because it's like what I wanted to do, and like I proved myself. Like these really successful people I want to be like. Art is clearly, their art is like, I've just found personally, on Twitch at least, the biggest art streamers are also, I really like their work. It's like I see it as a higher quality. So I'm like, there's got to be a correlation there that within this community, people appreciate the work above all, right? So I was like, why don't I stay true to that? And it worked. So it seems to be it happens in every industry. It's just like if you are happy and stay true to what you want to do, the people who like that too will come, and that's just, they like that trust and reliability, and just let them decide on those.
And a lot of times that is not the easiest path. That's actually the harder path, wouldn't you say?
to be true to yourself and just focus on
Yeah,
that.
you know, it's like I could draw pinup girls. I could draw that, you know, thing, that formula that Pinterest loves and everybody
Mm.
loves, you know, but I really want to do this or I really want to do that or, you know, like those kind of things. It feels like when you start to go that podcast route, like the way that you talk about it, it's almost like this nice sigh of relief or kind of,
Exactly.
yeah, right? It's kind of like people that achieve great things don't look for the easiest way to do it. They look for the right way.
Hmm.
And that's what we're kind of talking about here is like be true to yourself, do what you want to do, and people will follow when it's genuine.
Yeah. And like, yeah, as long as you're also making sure that, you have something that people value, and there's people value all kinds of stuff. You don't have to, think like I encourage people to really think about that and realize that there's no really should or shouldn't for a lot of things. It's just people value things based on whatever they feel like. Um, but yeah, it can be hard to do that. It can be hard to focus on what is true to you, but when you do it finally, you realize it's such a relief and it's such a huge relaxation. And it's like, why haven't I been doing this all the time? One of my personal like insecurities with my channels is like I'm looking at all these channels doing challenges like Ethan Becker and Jazza, and I look at ZHC and some others, and I'll be like, oh man, I can't do that. They're getting so popular, they're getting so big, and I'm just like, you know what? I just gotta stop like getting frustrated about that and trying to do whatever they're doing. And it's I feel like you just have to go the whole circle around. Like, I don't know. A lot of things I feel like I don't want to tell people like, this is it. You gotta do it. It's like sometimes it might just be you have to go and learn that for yourself. Um, but I don't know. There's a lot of people who do just start off doing what they always wanted to do, and they find a way to make that fulfilling enough to where they don't get so frustrated that maybe no one's watching for the first little bit.
Yeah. You know, I constantly like compare, um, you know, well-known artists to well-known, perhaps celebrities, especially singers.
Mm.
You know, and it's like so many of them, you see them kind of have this fall from grace before they enter their like true superstardom. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus, when everybody was like, she's gone crazy. You know, she's done all this crazy stuff,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Or Michael Jackson when he started to get real pale looking, and you know everybody. This might be before your time, but like I definitely remember those times where, when it was like between, do you like, are you Prince or are you a Michael Jackson team, or are you Cyndi Lauper? You're Madonna, you know, on the Madonna team. Like it was weird like that, but yeah, back then Michael Jackson started to get pale, and it was like everybody was like, "What is this guy doing?" And you know, seeing all different and stuff before everybody really accepted him. Um,
Mhm.
and there's so many examples of this, especially when people try to push the envelope.
Yeah,
Huge
and I
backlash a
think
lot of
that
times.
yeah, it's weird when that happens because it's like it's sometimes it always ends up going back just like you said they're more successful. Um, but it's like I feel like everyone just wants to enjoy life and see other people doing that. And when you're doing that, people want to join, like I've just noticed with COVID, especially, it's just made it's shown me how much people just like because with all the people who don't want to follow the rules and stuff, it's just like how much people just want to go back to just living their life. I've seen people get quote unquote canceled for things and then they eventually forget if it's not super serious, and it's just because like everyone just wants to go back to doing, enjoying life, pursuing their dreams and stuff. And I feel like that's something that's helped me navigate some of these frustrations because it's like if I'm on that path, I'll be fine, but there's, sometimes drama will be in that transition.
Right on. And I'm just gonna just like back up from this conversation because it's like I just have too many questions for you, and I definitely want to make sure everybody has a chance to talk with you.
Yeah. I don't see any in chat, but there could be some in the voice.
All right, well, I'll ask a Slido question since this isn't my question, but this is from Serene. Hello from Algeria. I was wondering if you guys had any time management tips for people who have a full-time job and can't dedicate 8+ hours to art a day.
So for me, I definitely, was able to do that because I had in architecture, it was 8 plus more. A lot of times we had to work 50 or 60-hour work weeks. Um, and for me, it was just finding ways to maximize the balance between time and finances. So it's like everything that you need to do for finances, do it and keep that separate from art. Um, and then after that, find all of that time that's left and use that for art if you can. And it's tough because you have to make some sacrifices. So unfortunately, when I was working um, at my architecture job, I was living with my parents and I did not do anything else. Basically, when I got home, I ordered out. I was able to, for me, the finances were allowed me to order out and not have to cook. I stopped going to the gym. Um, yeah, there was a lot of stuff, which could be bad, but that's just how I did it because I wanted to get that 4 to 5 hours a day. If it was a good day where I only had worked 8 hours, but there's other things you can do, where you you maybe mix eating with work if you're one of those people that can help you. Sometimes your bosses won't care. It's like, well, you're still gonna be here until we feel like letting you go. Um, yeah, I also think having a set time, just literally managing your time can be huge because I remember I didn't start using a calendar until this time last year, and that made a huge difference.
And how do you manage your time specifically? Is it into just a list on everything that you need to do for that day, or is it like in time chunks?
So for me, I'm actually like revamping that, but I like to look at things first on a weekly basis. It's like what has to be done this week. Um, and then I like to look at it as like, okay, on this day, what things do I want to get done? And I like to start from the bigger view up because it's less like it doesn't make as much anxiety when you're looking at it on the hourly basis. It's just like I have to do at least 2 things or 3 things a day for these 5 days a week, and it's like that's what I must get done. But then sometimes I'm starting to transition to something more hourly where it's categories of time. So instead of I have this much time to do this thing, it's like I have different levels of tasks. Like this is drawing, streaming right now, and then I have admin and then product development. And then that's how I'm breaking it up. So where it's like forcing myself, you have 1 hour, you can't draw. You have to do admin stuff. And that's like hard for me. It's like I'm going to set a time now where an hour, certain days a week, during this hour a day, no drawing. You have to do admin stuff. You have to be at your computer and respond to emails or whatever. And I find that to be really helpful because it makes me more productive. And I think I you might be the person like me that does better when you start things. So you could set that up as like a way to have your goals where you have to start a series of things within a day or this week, and you allow yourself your natural tendencies to where if you start something, you start to finish it, because I can never start and then just stop. I always like do a lot of work when I start.
Anybody in Discord or Masay, you have any questions for Josh?
No. Actually, I kind of want to touch on that question that was just asked
Yeah.
about the management tips. For me, so I guess this is more like a habit tip that I've made for myself. So I try to do a daily study, whether it's like 10 minutes to, an hour and a half, like our 90-minute challenge. It's really been helping with managing, sorry, just by making like a little calendar with like, every time I do a study, I check it off, and then it kind of like shows it visually, like, you know, uh, for in the past week, you've done this many studies. So not breaking that habit has helped me manage my, I guess, studies throughout the entire week. So I think making something visual like that might help, because just having something to cross off might have like a satisfactory feel, like just a satisfaction to it. So maybe doing something like that for people who have trouble managing their time. But yeah, sorry, I just wanted to add that.
I think that's a really good idea. I might like I feel because I know myself that when I see like when I was working out, when I see that constant like chart growing for my weight, right? It's like that's really nice. It's so hard. It gets to be hard to break it, right?
Mm.
I also remember this really funny, I think it was a TikTok or something. This guy started putting up a sheet of paper in the bathroom and he lived with his girlfriend or in the kitchen, and he would just write his girlfriend's name and he would put stickers on it for no reason. And then all of a sudden he took one off one day and she freaked out because he didn't have any reason for any of it. And it was like that impactful on their relationship. So that visual thing can really be helpful.
Yeah, that's funny. It's like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah, right? They were like little
Yeah.
stars.
Yeah, that exactly works the same way for me with the habit building. It's like I feel bad when I just miss one day because I've, had a streak, and it's like, what happened? Why did I break it? And then I end up reflecting on my day, and then I dig out things that I never would have like realized, like, oh, it's because I binge watched a show. It's like if I didn't do that, I would have had
Yeah, that's
little
good.
things like that.
This whole practice, if we stop doing this, I would feel weird at this point.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been
Discord
really
people.
diligent.
Oh yeah, well, it's definitely easier painting with somebody, and it's way easier when
Yeah.
you're painting with like a ton of people, which is pretty
Yeah,
much what happens now. Um, Anybody in Discord
it's very
want
true.
to join in on the conversation here?
Yeah, I wanted to chime in. Hey, what's up, Ergo? This is Amar.
Hey, what's up, man?
Oh, nothing much. I just wanted to chime in regards to the habit building as well. I stream. I have a really small audience, but I stream as well. I think that helps me, especially because I'm probably one of the elder people that does this. But I do it not for a profession. I do it as a hobby. But I still have those aspirations to do it full time. And I think for me, streaming helps a lot because streaming gives me a way to look at an archive, and then also gives me something to reflect back on and say, okay, if I do this, then I have to live up to it if I don't complete it. When you say it and you write it down, even though you write it down, if you don't put in the effort to get it done, then you don't do anything. And for me, when I see that visual note that shows that I didn't actually do it, then it's like, okay, I feel bad. So I need to get back on stream and do it. So I don't care if anyone's watching or not. It's more so a record for me to show that I am doing it. So even though I work full time, I also put in that time. And I'm pretty sure I'm probably older than most people on these streams as well. So for me, it's more of it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how busy you are. It just matters how much work you're going to put in. And you just got to find a way to give yourself some sort of metric to work from. And once you find that, if you have that drive to keep doing it, then you're not going to have any excuse not to do it. So that's all I wanted to add.
That's awesome. Yeah, that I remember that was a good, help for me streaming. Um, it was it's funny, like it's like, oh, I streamed this already. I gotta finish it. Sometimes that wasn't that good because it's like, I don't know. I do feel like it is good to finish though, like everything that you start because it builds a really good habit. But yeah, for me, yeah, it's when you're like doing these daily, if you say you're going to do these daily studies, then other people are looking forward to seeing you do that, and that can really help motivate you.
It's like staying accountable.
Yeah, like having everyone in the audience as your accountability partner.
Yeah.
Which is another tip, getting somebody to be accountable can be really helpful. I recently, one of my good friends on Twitch is helping me stay accountable for like the thing that I don't want to do, right? So it's like, have you done this yet? And I'm just like, yeah. It's like it helps to have somebody that you feel you really respect with everything that you do, like looking and waiting for when you're gonna show up with something. That can be harder
Yeah.
to get, but it's if you can try and find somebody that can, be accountable.
Or you could just say like, tweet out, I'm gonna keep doing this. If I don't, I will, give Josh however much money into his like, PayPal account or whatever, and then it keeps you on the up and up.
Yeah.
I've heard that before. I've heard that before though, where
Yeah.
it's like you want to keep something, you tell your buddy that you will give him X amount of dollars if you stop, and then that
Mm,
person will be on your case.
yeah, that's good.
It's like, oh, where's my money? They're like secretly hoping that you're gonna miss the
Yeah.
habit, but then yeah, it's definitely a push.
Here's another question from Slido. Keep them coming in, everybody. So this one says, Josh, as a black artist, what is it like navigating the art world? As I find that black artists don't get noticed or aren't as well known.
For me, I feel like that can definitely be something that is true, especially in the traditional world. I haven't been as involved in, I guess, the offline community in art. But when it comes to online, I've really found it to be almost empowering because I actually consciously thought like I remember when I would give when I did my 50K face reveal, it's like nobody else on YouTube looks like me right now. But then now it's like there's also Mohammed Akbadi. I'm sure you guys have heard about him. So I'm not the only like popular art YouTuber, popular black art YouTuber that has like over 200K subs. But um, yeah, I actually was like, I'm gonna stand out for that reason. And I think for me, I looked at any potential like fear of being like alone. I looked at that as being like an empowering thing of like, I'm standing out here. I'm going to be one of the first. I'm going to be helping others see themselves in me or a version of me or a version of themselves and all of that. Um, and I just found like, yeah, it's like I just focused on showing up. Um, and I found that when it came to the value that I was giving to people, a lot of people in my community just showed up with me. Like last night, I was in my Discord chatting, um, and a couple of Black women who've been inspired for my community were just enjoying talking about different stuff. Because in my Discord, it's like really chill. It's not always just art that we're talking about. And I found that I didn't really feel any of that because I was just always so focused on showing up and being out there. And that's something I want to inspire other people to do, regardless of what color you are, or where your background is. It's like the more people that show up and stand out, there are going to be more people that feel confident. And I think that's what matters more than somebody else showing you. It's like you show yourself, you show up, and eventually there'll be no other option for you to be known or be out there, right? So that's just my perspective on it.
I always thought if nobody's doing that thing, then that's the better opportunity. If
Hmm.
everybody's already doing it, what's the point in me doing another one?
Yeah. And then like also on Twitch, I also noticed there's a lot more people of color on Twitch. Just of, I don't know what it is. I guess it's I guess it's just the vibe, the community vibe there is a lot more comfortable and friendly than on YouTube. YouTube can feel like a wasteland sometimes when you're starting out. So that can be really helpful if you want to try there to get started, because there's all kinds of people there that you can follow and connect with. If maybe you're more hesitant about standing out on YouTube and Instagram. And I'd say, yeah, it's like if you want to, just go ahead and reveal yourself and who you are. Like I remember my hands were always in my videos, right? And I actually I don't want to make it go down like a negative way, but I got like actually negative comments about my hands, and then I've gotten really positive comments about my hands when nobody knew what I looked like yet. So um I just took a lot of pride in, being out there, being unique. And I think that's the biggest thing we need to do, is to show up, to encourage other people to show up, and then eventually there'll be no other option, for us to just be everywhere.
I'm trying to understand what people had like negative to say about your hands, like dirty fingernails. They're on your
That's
case about
Yeah,
your.
pretty much. They were like, somebody was like, wash your hands or something before.
Ah, that hurts.
Because I did get one legitimate negative comment on my first video, and it was because I was so anxious about it. I was like, oh no, like I'm gonna take a whole shower right before I film the video. And unfortunately, that makes my hands really dry. They get ashy and white. So everyone in the comments was saying, Josh, you need to put on lotion. That was my first video that blew up. And for the next several months, I never forgot it. So that's never happened again. But yeah, other than that, there have been occasional negative comments here and there. But it's like, then there's people saying, I can't stop looking at his hands. It's just like, you get to see truly what everyone says. Like, haters will be hating, because like in this position you get to see everything. It's like, wow, it really is. It just, there's always going to be people who have negative things to say.
Man, that sucks. But I get it. I get it.
Yeah,
That's so
but
funny.
that didn't affect me as much at all, because that was extremely rare. And I was much more concerned with my videos and uh yeah, and the artwork, the art quality comments that I'd get.
When did it start getting easier to gain traction?
That, to be honest, when the pandemic hit, that took a lot of stress off, because my there's a metric that's every 48 hours you see how many views you get per 48 hours, and that metric shot up for me at the beginning of the pandemic, and it never really went back to the original since. And it gave me comfort that I have a now permanently new audience that has discovered me because of the pandemic. And that was like, I'd say, the most marketed comfort. But also when it comes to like finances, when I remember my first goal was $300 from YouTube. And then when I hit that, I never dipped below it. And that's when I realized, okay, with all the business and entrepreneurship stuff I looked at, that means I can scale it. So like I can only do better from here. I just need to learn what to do. And that was, I think, the most important, I guess, point of comfort for me. That was enough. 300 was like, this is a bill I have. I got 300 from here. This is constant. I can do better from here. It's like, all right, well, in the very least, it's gonna help me pay some of my, bills off. So
That's awesome. Yeah, and that is really such a good lesson for everybody to kind of get from this stream. I hope that if you are brave enough to try at 100%, success will find you. And that's exactly what's happened to ErgoJosh. Of course, with a lot of smarts and a lot of preparation, research, things like that. I just want to thank the wonderful audience in YouTube. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out, as well as Facebook, our moderators, our amazing moderators or admin people, or whatever you want to call it, in Discord. Thank you so much, everybody. You guys are fantastic. And thank you to Masay, my amazing co-host, and The biggest thank you goes to our wonderful guest, ErgoJosh. Thank you, Josh, for hanging out with us, doing some paintings. Can we finish this with a couple words about this challenge? How did you feel about it? What was hard for you? What would you have done if you were to do it again?
But yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, Bobby. I'd say, like, first off, looking back at the stream, I am so much more proud of myself than I was when I was doing it. So first thing would be to chill out and relax and not get so stressed out because I was like so anxious at the beginning working with you guys. Um, and I think now I would have slowed down a little bit. I think I was too worried about the time. Um, I am actually really proud of the colors I was able to do. And I think that if I slowed down, I would have been able to do even better, get some of the proportions the way I wanted, a lot better. And one of the things I learned was the area on his nose that's lighter and more desaturated. That was a big breakthrough for me because I was like, wait, I need to paint this like kind of gray tone everywhere, and it really helped my painting. And that was something that I'm still like learning, this dynamic between saturation and desaturation. You can tell like some of the colors are a lot more saturated than they should be in mine. But yeah, I found it to be really nice, and sitting down for 90 minutes straight is something that seems a lot more approachable to me now because it's not, I usually am doing all kinds of stuff at once unless I'm really getting into rendering something for hours on end. Um, yeah, it was a really great experience, especially painting with you guys too. That was comforting.
It was great.
Thank you, like yeah.
Miss A,
Uh,
what about you?
yeah, this was a fun one. I really like the how like the contrast between the values, and I guess for this one I experimented more on the color variations. I think looking at Bobby's, I maybe next time I'd probably want to try to like push certain shapes more, maybe caricaturize it. But overall, I really enjoyed this. So this was fun.
I'm trying to get into more of painting the essence of what I see, not what I'm seeing. Trying to get more and more into working on those imagination kind of muscles. So I wasn't trying to get the colors. I wasn't trying to get the shapes, but I was really trying to get the feeling of the subject there. I thought that was an interesting thing. I don't feel like I'm there, not even close, but it's something that I'm gonna be pursuing more and more as we keep doing these challenges. It's hard, because you see a color, you're used to trying to get that color, but now I'm trying to see that color and trying to imagine what else it could be and seeing if I like any of those and applying it. Yeah. Great. Well, this has been a load of fun and super educational. Would love to do a part 2 with you, Josh, at some point. Thank you so much. It's been an honor.
My pleasure too. I really appreciate this, and it's been great hanging out